In the background, sneakily, Genya Shinazugawa attempts to sneak up on the demon. As he shoots at him, he is left utterly shocked as Kokushibo instantly appears behind him and asks if he agrees with his statement, slicing off Genya's gun arm so fast that he wasn't even able to notice. As Genya's left arm falls to the ground, the boy looks in shock and attempts to defend himself as Muichiro is horrified and yells out to Genya. Before his hand is able to fully draw his blade, Kokushibo swiftly slices off his other arm as well, leaving the boy bleeding profusely. He sees that Genya has been eating demons and slices his torso clean in half. Muichiro is horrified at the sight and attempts to pull the blade out of himself, but in vain as he is unable to make it budge. Kokushibo is surprised that Genya is still alive despite having his torso cut in half, and tells him that around 300 years ago there was another swordsman who ate demons just like he did, saying that he had killed a particular swordsman by slicing his torso in half. Kokushibo says that if the same strategy did not work on Genya, then perhaps the boy's weak point was actually his head. Genya tries to crawl towards his arms to attempt to reattach them, as Kokushibo says that he has no reason to allow a fake demon like him to live, and begins to slice at his head. Suddenly, he is intercepted by Sanemi Shinazugawa, performing the wind-breathing fourth form Rising Dust Storm as Genya is left shocked. Kokushibo immediately retreats backwards and recognizes Sanemi as the Wind Hashira, as he later says that he is the wind that will rip off Kokushibo's head. Genya whispers to his brother, who roughly responds by calling Genya a pathetic little brother, telling him that the reason he went so far as to kill their own mother was that he wanted to protect Genya. Flashing back to a conversation he had with Tanjiro during his Hashira training, Genya remembers that Tanjiro told him he could not smell a tinge of hatred in Sanemi towards Genya, and Tanjiro had told him that he did not need to be afraid of his brother because Sanemi had loved him that entire time. Sanemi continues and tells Genya that he should have lived a normal life until he reached a ripe old age and attempted to make his wife and children happy, in return for all the happiness that had been taken from them, their siblings, and their mother. As Sanemi tells him that he would have not let a single demon get near Genya no matter what, Genya tears up and apologizes to his brother. Meanwhile, Kokushibo feels nostalgic upon seeing a pair of Demon Slayer brothers. Enraged though, Sanemi curses at Kokushibo and lunges forward to attack as Kokushibo slices at him. Ducking and sliding between Kokushibo's legs, Sanemi catches the demon's foot and flips him over, launching a wind-breathing first form Dust Whirlwind Cutter at the upper rank without pause. Sanemi matches blades with Kokushibo, who finally draws his sword out for all to see. A grotesque blade with eyes and veins running down the side of its length, and Sanemi notes how disgusting the sight of it truly is. Sanemi and Kokushibo go blade to blade, and the upper moon unleashes a moon-breathing fifth form moon spirit calamitous eddy that the Wind Hashira manages to dodge. Noting that Kokushibo is able to repeat his slashes without even moving his blade, Sanemi prepares to counterattack. Dashing forward, Sanemi performs a wind-breathing third form Clean Storm Wind Tree and clashes with Kokushibo, but is unable to damage the upper rank. Impressed, Kokushibo lauds Sanemi's physical capabilities and notes that they are at their peak, as the Hashira is silently awestruck at the demon's own prowess. Analyzing Kokushibo's attacks and seeing that each slash is accompanied with smaller crescent-shaped blades that change their size randomly over time, Sanemi thinks to himself that he is not surprised Muichiro lost to this demon, thinking that if it was not for his inexperience, he would surely have been able to cut him down by now. Sanemi gets excited at Kokushibo's skill and the fact that he is a demon using breaths. Seeing that this makes him a much tougher opponent, Sanemi is thrilled and calls Kokushibo a demon worth killing. Launching a wind-breathing second form, Claw's Purifying Wind, Sanemi leaps forward. As Kokushibo deflects Sanemi's attack, he looks up and sees the Wind Hashira about to slice down at him and blocks the blow. Suddenly, Sanemi goes straight for Kokushibo's neck with Genya's sword, maneuvering the blade with his right foot. Genya looks on in shock at this move as the upper moon narrowly evades. The two continue to battle, with Sanemi matching Kokushibo blow for blow, much to the demon's delight. The intense combat begins to take its toll on Sanemi, however, as the Wind Hashira finally slips up and narrowly messes up the tip of his swing, missing death by a small margin. Genya looks on with his eyes widening in concern, and Muichiro calls out to Sanemi, who is frustrated but alright. Kokushibo reminisces over old battles and thinks back to a fight he had with a previous Wind Hashira back in the Sengoku era, and how both of them had improved their swordsmanship by fighting in a similar manner. Suddenly launching a moon-breathing sixth form Perpetual Night Lonely Moon, Kokushibo manages to slice Tsunemi's chest and even cuts off all of the surrounding pillars in the room with his attack. Genya calls out to his brother, frustrated as the rubble blocks his view, leaving him unable to see his brother. With blood spilling from his chest, Tsunemi stands up straight and finds slashes running alongside his torso. Kokushibo praises Tsunemi's skill for having kept up with him for so long, but tells him that if he moves now, his organs would spill out. Suddenly, he tenses up as his pulse begins to race and he is puzzled at this sudden change. Tsunemi begins to cuckle as he sees that the effect of his rare blood even began to work on an upper rank. With a smirk, he lashes forward and attacks Kokushibo, taunting the demon for staggering as he gloats that his rare blood made demons go drunk off the smell of it as he begins to counterattack in earnest. The Wind Hashira recounts how he first learned about the special quality of his blood and thinks back to the night his mother became a demon. He noted that her movements had become duller after his blood had spilled and surmised that she had gotten drunk off the smell of it. Afterwards, he began to hunt demons all on his own, being unaware of the Demon Slayer core or Nichiren swords. Instead, he relied on his own blood to disorientate the demons, enough for him to restrain them and then quickly burn them in the sun. The nights were difficult for him, as he had become partially blind after killing his mother. Afterwards, he realized that this had been a reckless endeavor that he tried doing, and he had been incredibly lucky to actually have gotten through it unscathed. One day, while hunting for a demon, Tsunemi ran into a demon slayer named Masachika Kumino, who was also hunting the same demon. This is where Tsunemi learned the actual existence of the Demon Slayer core and would join them afterwards. They became friends and even fought and defeated lower rank 1 while working together. However, Masachika was fatally wounded in the fight against the lower rank and ended up dying, leaving Tsunemi the only one to become a Hashira as a result of their win. Back in the fight against Kokushibo, Tsunemi unleashes a wind-breathing 6th form, Black Wind Mountain Mist, which the upper rank narrowly dodges. Shocked to see Tsunemi being capable of fighting, Kokushibo guesses that the Hashira is squeezing his muscles to prevent his organs from spilling out and solidifying his blood with his breaths to stem his bleeding. Impressed at the Hashira's immense skill, Kokushibo notes that this is a feat no ordinary human could achieve, and begins trading blows with Tsunemi. The Wind Hashira keeps pushing Kokushibo back, but the demon suddenly stomps down on his blade, preventing him from moving it, and then attempts to behead Tsunemi. Flashing back to when he first became a Hashira, still raw from his sadness over the death of Masachika, Tsunemi recalls his Hashira meeting. When they had first laid eyes on Kagaya Ubuyashiki, Tsunemi had boiled with rage at seeing someone who was smiling while there were people who were suffering at the hands of demons, hurling verbal abuse at Oyukata, and saying he only saw the demon slayers as pawns. Tsunemi had immediately earned the ire of his fellow Hashira with his disrespect. Gyome had reapproached him, but Kagaya assured the Hashira it was alright before things could escalate further, and then addressed Tsunemi directly. Kagaya told him that he had wished to fight with a blade himself as well, but was never able to do more than 10 swings before his pulse went wild and he would have to stop. He continued and said that if the Demon Slayers were pawns, then he was nothing more than a pawn who moved them around as well. Kagaya continued his response to Tsunemi's words and told the Wind Hashira that even if he died, nothing would change, as he already had successors. Oyukata said that since this was Tsunemi's first Hashira meeting, and that he probably just had a misunderstanding, to treat him however he wished, and to just focus on protecting people's lives as a Hashira. Kagaya continued and said that it was his fault for calling Tsunemi so soon after Masachika had died, as they had been as close as brothers. Tsunemi was dumbfounded to hear this, and that Oyukata knew Masachika's actual name. After this, Kane Kocho told him that Kagaya had actually memorized all of the names of every single Demon Slayer and their upbringings ever since he had taken over as the leader. Having been shocked to hear so, Tsunemi had looked in awe as Kagaya had gotten up and informed them of Masachika's will, saying that the will of most Demon Slayers would be similar. Kagaya had handed over Kumino's will to Tsunemi, and the boy tearfully read it, and it told him that the Demon Slayers would always want their loved ones to live with a smile and to not die unnatural deaths at the hands of demons. Remembering these moments, Tsunemi pulls out a pistol and blocks Kokushibo's blade with the underside of it before firing straight at the demon's face.